We bring you the latest happenings on the real news.
This is the RBN News Hour from the Real Broadcasting Network. I am Sufyan Ibrahim, and here are the top stars. Federal government takes state policing plan to the public. Civil society group warns of declining freedoms. Ministry of Health promote 1,000 days of breastfeeding. Now the news. The federal government has opened a 2-week window for Nigerians and other stakeholders to submit memorandum policy proposals on the proposed national policing bill as part of efforts to establish a framework for state policing. The Chief of Staff to the President and Chairman of the Presidential Working Group, Femi Gbajabiamila, announced this today after the group's meeting at the State House in Abuja.
The Secretary of the Working Group presented the profiles of the Policy Advisory Committee approved by His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, and briefed members on the implementation work plan, its principal milestones, and the outcomes expected at each stage. Now, this is a monumental reform that Nigerians have debated over for many years. Thus, our central task is now to design a lawful, professional, and sustainable federal and state policing system that places greater capability closer to the people while presenting national standards, national security, and the rights of every Nigerian.
The working group has adopted a 7-week program running from July 27th to September 14th, with a draft executive bill scheduled for presentation to President Bola Tinubu on September 3rd. The government says further national consultations will follow before the bill is finalized and sent to the National Assembly. To speak on the state police and the recent development around it, we have joining us a constitution law expert, Mr. Well, my first question here, since the police bill is before the parliament, what force does this committee set up by the president carry?
Thank you very much for having me. The idea of a framework that is being propounded by the executive is an anticipatory of the state police before the National Assembly. One thing we need to understand clearly is that the National Assembly has the constitutional right, by virtue of Section 4 of the Constitutions, to make laws for the good and self-interest of the Nigerians. So the state police that is before the National Assembly, it has been passed by the Senate within National Assembly both July 23rd and 24th. Now, it's just awaiting for them to help to match them together and so that they can pass for the president for assessment. Now, what this means is that the introduction of that, what the federal government intends to do is not to override what has been passed by the National Assembly, but rather to have a welcoming platform towards the implementation of it. So,
Okay, well, I would like you to recall that the bill by the House of Representatives was recalled for the executive version. If I may ask you, Mr. Abiodun, at what stage is it now?
I can't hear you.
I am asking that the bill, you know, if you recall, the bill by the House of Representatives was recalled for the executive version. At what stage is that bill right now?
That July 2024, the House of Rep have also passed the state bill into the law, the state police bill. So there is a stage at which they are now is that they need the concurrent 2/3 of the entire state of the federation, because the bill involves a constitutional amendment, and for you to amend a single word from the provision of the constitutions, you need the agreement of the 2/3 of the entire state that made up Nigeria as a federation. So the bill at this stage now is at the state level, asking for their input. By the time they are done, they will send their input back to the National Assembly, and if they have that 2/3 of it, as required by the Constitution, then it will be forwarded to the President for assentment.
So
They will not forward for assentment until when they can get that to third.
okay, so does that answer the question that that is a further step that will be required before this bill eventually becomes law?
Yes, that is it. Until if they can get it to third of the 36 states of the 36 states we have in Nigeria, then they are good to go. Because the constitutional provisions, the law has made rules and procedure on how to alter the constitutions. So what the Biamila want to do is that now, by the time we are sure that we are going to get a constitutional amendment and the state police bill, but now we need to discuss about the funding of the police. We need to talk about the operationality of the police. We need to talk about the framework of that police, because the amendment is talking about Section 214 says that it can only have a federal police. No, they have amended it to allow a federal and state. Now, the Constitution also provides that the president have the overall superiority to maintenance of the police. But with the amendments now, the state government also have the right to control, to appoint the state commissioner upon the ratification by the State House of Assembly.
All right, Mr. Fatai Abiodun, a constitutional lawyer, thank you so much for your time on the RBN News Hour.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. Moving on to security matters, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, is launching a new anti-fraud squad to combat the growing wave of fraudulent activities across the country. The initiative is aimed at strengthening the Corps' capacity to investigate, prevent, and respond to financial crimes, cyber-enabled fraud, identity theft, and other deceptive practices that undermine public trust and economic stability. The specialized squad will work closely with relevant security agencies, financial institutions, and regulatory bodies to identify criminal networks, gather intelligence, and prosecute offenders. It will also embark on public awareness campaigns to educate citizens on common fraud schemes and preventive measures. In politics, the crisis rocking the People's Democratic Party, PDP, is taking another turn, with fresh accusations emerging over the leadership and future of Nigeria's main opposition party. Despite a series of legal interventions, the dispute continues to deepen, with the Forum of State Chairmen, led by Abdurrahman Mohammed, now calling for security intervention. RBN correspondent Godwin Igbe reports.
The crisis within the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, appears far from over, even despite judicial interventions. The latest development comes as the Forum of State Chairman of the PDP has called on security agencies to investigate allegations of criminal forgery, impersonation, and the distortion of court judgments. At a press briefing in Abuja, the chairman of the forum, Austin Nwachukwu, accused a group the party describes as expert members of carrying out the act.
No group of expert and recalcitrant individuals should be allowed to substitute court pronouncements with press statements. 2, to end the false presentation as a faction of PDP. These individuals have continued to falsely and continuously present themselves as a faction of the PDP.
The forum also urged former President Goodluck Jonathan to publicly distance himself from the group's activities.
We call on you, in view of the global image and moral authority you command, to address Nigerians directly and disassociate yourself from the continuous use of your name in this spectacle of macabre dance by expelled PDP members.
The dispute is the latest sign of the continuing divisions within the PDP as the party seeks to resolve its internal differences ahead of the 2027 general elections. In Abuja, Godwin Igbe, RBN News.
The Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, says Nigeria is witnessing a decline in the protection of constitutional freedoms and civic rights. Speaking at a media briefing on repressive bills and their impact on civic space, the executive director of CISLAC, Mr. Awal Rafsanjani, said intimidation and arbitrary arrests are becoming increasingly common, citing the recent court cases involving activist Omoyele Sowore.
Freedom of expression, peaceful assembly, freedom of association, media freedom, access to information, democratic participation, and the rule of law in Nigeria. These legislative proposals are being considered at a time when civil space in Nigeria is experiencing one of its most and worst serious period of decline since the country's return to democratic rule in 1999.
Still to come on the RBN News Hour. Nigeria unlocks billions in new finance agreement. Find out in the news after the break.
Every street has a story. Every struggle carries hope. Every dream deserves a voice. We walk where the people walk. We honor our culture. We tell the stories that matter. This is not just news. This is your story, your voice, your network. Real Broadcasting Network. We the people.
From our global news center, we bring you the latest happenings on the real news.
Welcome back from the break. The National Executive Council (NEC) has approved the refinancing of the $3.3 billion Project Gazelle pre-export finance facility through a new $4.5 billion facility known as Project Gazelle 2. The approval was granted at the 159th meeting of NEC held virtually and chaired by Vice President Kashim Shettima, following the presentation by the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele. The new arrangement will enable the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL) to refinance an outstanding balance of about $1.5 billion under the original 2023 facility, while unlocking an additional $3 billion in liquidity for the country. The funds are expected to strengthen Nigeria's external reserves and support ongoing fiscal and infrastructure priorities. Nigeria's effort to strengthen routine immunization and expand local vaccine production have received a significant boost following renewed support from Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance. State House correspondent Hakeem Hamzat has more.
So I have to adjust myself to definitely be able to see you and give you this assurance and to say thank you very much for the commitment to humanity.
Nigeria's immunization program is set for a major boost. This is after Gavi committed over $500 million to support vaccine delivery over the next 5 years. Gavi Chief Executive Officer Dr. Sanya Neshta says reforms in primary healthcare, immunization, and health financing are delivering results.
And over the next 5 years, we will be contributing over $500 million towards vaccination campaign, which will see this partnership vaccinate an entire generation of children in this great country, contributing to your human capital aspirations.
President Bola Tinubu thanked Gavi for its continued support, reaffirming Nigeria's commitment to expanding immunization and local vaccine production.
The wonderful job of Gavi and the team is well appreciated. And the program of acceleration for the production of vaccines in Nigeria is empowering the continent.
The president also linked better healthcare to national development. He says investments in education, scientific research, and innovation are essential to lifting more Nigerians out of poverty.
We owe it to the entire population to be foresighted, farsighted, and be committed to develop the capacity of the Africans and protect the future generation. Poverty is only not acceptable. And through education, dedication, and patriotism, we can conquer poverty. And we will do so.
The federal government says stronger healthcare partnerships and national unity remain critical to achieving sustainable development. From the State House in Abuja, Hakeem Hamzat, RBN News.
Fresh controversy has emerged over the House of Representatives' investigation into the controversial Presidential Foreign Investment Promotion Council, PFIPC, with criticism mounting against the chairman of the ALDA committee, Honorable Yusuf Gagdi, as the panel moves to conclude its assignment in the coming weeks. A member of the House of Representatives questioned Gagdi's appointment to lead the probe, arguing that he should not chair an investigation stemming from a motion he sponsored. The lawmaker also called for the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, to appear before the committee to address documents linked to the case. The lawmaker further dismissed claims that differences in signatures on documents presented before the panel undermine their authenticity, insisting that some public officials use more than one signature. The committee is expected to submit its report to the House for consideration in plenary. As Nigeria and other African countries continue to grapple with insurgency, violent extremism, and communal conflicts, experts are calling for stronger approaches that go beyond military intervention. At a conference in Abuja, stakeholders stressed the need for restorative justice, peace building, and conflict resolution to help victims recover, rebuild communities, and promote lasting peace. RBN correspondent Vanessa Dokotri reports.
The conference, organized by the California State University, Bingham University, and the National Defense College Nigeria, focused on restorative justice, peace building, and conflict resolution. The commandant of the National Defense College, Rear Admiral Abdullahi Ahmed, says collaboration is key to addressing African security challenges.
Across Africa today, violent extremism, insurgency, and communal conflict have left deep physical, psychological, and social scars on individuals and communities. While security operations remain indispensable in confronting these threats, sustainable peace demands much more than military success. It requires healing, justice, reconciliation, community resilience, and the restoration of human dignity.
Participants say restoring peace requires educating communities on the concept of restorative justice and improving support for victims of violent extremism. Professor Ernest Uwazi says public education is essential to achieving that goal.
The training will accomplish two things. One, it would help to demystify what restorative justice is about, so you know what it is and what it is not, and be able to defend it when actually the need arises. And also it will give you the skills you need to be able to not just talk about it, but actually do it.
Organizers say the conference is also strengthening partnerships to turn research into practical solutions for communities affected by conflict. Professor Alexa Sadina says the discussions are aimed at shaping reforms that will promote lasting peace.
Talk about the ways in which restorative justice can be used to address acts of political violence or mass violence, violence extremism, and really look at sort of what survivors of those types of harms need, and talk about the ways in which maybe some of those suggestions or learnings can be implemented into policy.
With the theme Restorative Justice and Management of Victims of Violence Extremism in Africa, in collaboration with the National Defense College, Nigerians hope that the reforms gotten from this conference leads to the increment of educated personnel in the society. From the National Defense College, Abuja, Vanessa Dokotri, RBN News.
The Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, has confirmed that Nigerian girls recently detained in Mauritius have been released and are currently on their way back to Nairobi, the capital city of Kenya. The development follows widespread concern after a viral social media video alleged that the girls had been held at Mauritius airport since July 31st, 2026. NIDCOM said its chairman and CEO, Abike Dabiri Erawa, is engaging the relevant Nigerian mission, which has formally taken up the matter with Mauritian authorities. The commission said the intervention is aimed at ensuring accountability and preventing recurrence while reaffirming its commitment to protecting the interest and welfare of Nigerians living abroad. This is the RBN News Hour. After the break, we'll let you in on why the first 1,000 days matter for every child. Please stay with us.
for the news at the top of the hour? Don't worry, you can now get the news as it breaks. Download the Real Broadcasting Network free mobile app for Android, Play Store, and web to get breaking news alerts as the news breaks. Also, get more detailed perspectives on all major news reports when you visit our website, realmediang.com.
Every street has a story. Every struggle carries hope. Every dream deserves a voice. We walk where the people walk. We honor our culture. We tell the stories that matter. This is not just news. This is your story, your voice, your network. Real Broadcasting Network. We the people.
From our global news center, we bring you the latest happenings on the real news.
Welcome back from the break. The rest of the news continues. Nigeria has launched a new national campaign aimed at improving nutrition during the first 1,000 days in office as the country marks the 2026 World Breastfeeding Week. The initiative is expected to strengthen breastfeeding practices and improve maternal and child nutrition outcomes across the country. RBN correspondent Fati Mati reports.
Breastfeeding is everyone's responsibility. Every mother deserves accurate information, quality support, and an enabling environment.
Nigeria ranks among the countries with the highest malnutrition rates globally, with about 2 million children suffering from severe acute malnutrition, according to UNICEF. Against this backdrop, the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare is marking the 2026 World Breastfeeding Week by sensitizing mothers and communities on the vital role of breastfeeding in giving children a healthy start in life. The Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Health, Daju Kachalam, speaks on the ministry's commitment to ensuring adequate breastfeeding.
And as Nigeria joins the global community to mark this week, the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare reaffirms its commitment to protecting, promoting, and supporting breastfeeding, especially the first 1,000 days of life, a critical window that shapes the child's growth, brain development, future productivity, and long-term health.
The representative of the World Health Organization, Mia Ngo, speaks on its support to promote optimal breastfeeding practice in Nigeria.
We still need to improve together to get the optimal result of this, the nutrition among the children.
The deputy representative of UNICEF in Nigeria, Ronak Khan, highlights the benefits of sticking to exclusive breastfeeding.
We are responsible for exclusive breastfeeding, and can we commit that every woman in Nigeria has the enabling environment to breastfeed their child?
The Director of Nutrition, Olufumilola Adegbite, gives an overview of what the 1,000 Days of Life campaign entails.
The first 1,000 days starts from pregnancy and the postnatal, then you move to the delivery, the first 0 to 6 months, and then we move to 6 months to 23 months.
A mother speaks on the challenges to achieving the 1,000 Days campaign.
Where there will be stress is when there is no food. Maybe you want to take pap, you don't have money to get pap, or you are supposed to take egg, you don't have money to get egg. That is well the problem will come in.
With the Federal Ministry of Health launching its 1,000 Days of Life campaign targeted at sensitizing mothers and our communities on the importance of breastfeeding a child as early as 1 hour after birth till around 2 years of the child's life, it leaves us asking questions. Do we have enabling environment to foster this change? From Abuja Continental, Mati Fati, RBN News.
On the foreign scene, a drone strike on a busy beach in southern Russia has killed 7 people, including 3 children, with 40 others injured. The attack happened near Akipo Osipokva on the Black Sea coast, a popular holiday destination. Krasnodar region governor Veniamin Kondratiev accused Ukraine of carrying out a deliberate attack on civilians, but Kyiv has not commented. Russian officials say 17 of the injured were taken to hospital, while eyewitnesses reported hearing gunfire before the explosion. The cause of the crash remains unclear, as some reports suggest the drone may have been disrupted by electronic warfare or targeted by air defenses. Both Russia and Ukraine deny deliberately targeting civilians in the ongoing conflicts. In sports, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu says the state is ready to host this year's CAF Award after a delegation from the Confederation of African Football CAF inspected the National Theatre in Igomu, Lagos, which is the venue for the ceremony. The five-man team is assessing facilities ahead of the annual awards and the 48th CAF Ordinary General Assembly scheduled to hold in Nigeria. The delegation, led by the CAF Head of Safety and Security, Dr. Christian Emeruwa, was received by officials of the Lagos State Sports Commission during Monday's inspection. Meanwhile, Governor Sanwo-Olu said the visits provided an opportunity to review preparations and also gather feedback, assuring that every aspect of the event was receiving close attention to ensure a successful hosting. Nigeria will therefore host the CAF General Assembly in Abuja on November 21st, 2026, while Lagos will stage the CAF Awards, celebrating Africa's top football stars and officials. The inspection tour also covered facilities in Abuja, the nation's capital, following President Bola Tinubu's approval for Nigeria to host the two major CAF events after a request by CAF President Dr. Patrice Motsepe. And that is the RBN News Hour. Before we go, here's a recap of the major stars. We brought to you that the federal government has opened a 2-week window for Nigerians and other stakeholders to submit memoranda and policy proposals on the proposed national policing bill. We also told you that the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, has raised concerns over what it describes as a decline in the protection of constitutional freedoms and civic rights in Nigeria. And we also told you that Nigeria has launched a national campaign to promote better nutrition during the first 1,000 days of life as part of activities marking the 2026 World Breastfeeding Week. Thank you for staying with us on the Real Broadcasting Network. Stay informed with more stories on our website at www.therealmediang.com. Also download the RBN app on the Google Play Store and Apple Store for iOS devices. You can also follow us across all social media platforms at The Real Media NG for real-time updates and in-depth coverage. I am Sufyan Ibrahim. Good afternoon.
From our global news center, we bring you the latest happenings on the real news.
My brother, see road now. If na Lagos na traffic, we don't no go anywhere. My brother, this is why I love Abuja. My brother, na city gate be this. Where you go see before you enter Abuja. If you enter Abuja and you never see this city gate, my brother, na Cameroon you dey. My brother, this is why I love Abuja. My brother, Abuja life too soft. After work like this, now here they come sit down. There's a fine things that will be sonorous in my spirit. Now why I love Abuja with this? Unity for inside the diversity. Now what did they take no Abuja for? Now why I love Abuja? You see this place, my back? Luxury on another level. You feel the work inside. You